Hello and welcome. This is another versus. Anyways, this is another versus between two games, and I will be bringing up more versus in the future. I plan on doing Lords of the Fallen versus Bound by Flame in the near future to see who's a better RPG, and then whoever wins that will move up to battle Bloodborne. And then I will have other verses that will be very hard for me to narrow down between lore, gameplay, graphics, so on and so forth, such as Dragon Age versus the Witcher series. And also my two very personal favorites, Dark Souls versus the Elder Scrolls. Sort of rhymed. I will also finish up my Dragons of Deltora, because I haven't gotten to that in a while. I will do another episode to each one of my Let's Plays as I have the time, and I'm sorry for not getting to them sooner. But today we have two really awful RPGs, and I can't believe there's people who follow these games. They're both horrible, and you're about to see demonstrations to how horrible they are, and I'm going to use the PC since it is the best example to demonstrate, because you can mod and also make the game look prettier, but in this case you can see how bad they really are. And they're going to battle to the death not only how much of an RPG they are, but this is a battle of who's the worst RPG of these two. Two Worlds or Risen. So these two games will be battling. I'll use the entire series and why they're awful to attack one another. And we're going to have some screen footage to show you. Prepare yourselves for the awfulness. First, we're going to start off with the Titan Lords on Risen 3. I've actually purchased this game expecting it to be good, and sadly, I was very, very disappointed. I mean, I've never been disappointed since Superman 64, or even Drake of the 99 Dragons. Now, I will also use YouTubers to give out my examples, so I guess I'm sort of promoting them too. I hope that's not a bad thing, and I hope they don't mind once again. But I feel like they'll help distinguish the awfulness of these games. And I won't be showing their videos, but I'll show you that they have videos and who they are. And you can go to their channel and check out their videos why they're so awful. And I'm going to point out and finally end a debate of awfulness between these two big-time RPGs. Are you ready? Because I'm not. Alright. Starting with Risen. Now, this was made by a game company who was also the publishers of the Metro games. Look at that frame. Now, this game, Risen, is known for awful frame rate and it has these stupid QuickTime events. It has really, really bad gameplay. Like, your enemy can hit you 5 times while you're in the hit, as well as there you go. When you're winding up your hit, it's so slow. It's awful. It's very corny looking too. The textures are really awful. You get to notice this more and more. Voice acting's bad. The character models and the movements are really horrible. And I find the trailer false advertised it too, because it made it look prettier, it made the spells look more useful, and yet they're not, and they're really limited. They just come out really awful and glitchy. This game's got tons of frame rate, very glitchy, and just destroys all of it. Just destroys itself. It's got bad voice and dialogue, performed by awful actors that should match that of the original Resident Evil. And your main character tries to sound like a tough guy as well. He's got the voice of Christian Bale's Batman, which is awful. And then you go to that Gnome DLC, which is not worth the money. And this came out for what, $49.99, and then added an extra like $5 each to those, making it at a total of what game would be. This game is not worth it. It will make you hate it like immediately, and I can't believe people actually like this. But then again, there's a lot of people who have just not so good taste. Well, I also had movies like Napoleon Dynamite and Dude, Where's My Car become famous, or popular in the day at least. Those movies are obviously awful. So, now we got an obviously awful game. It's like the evidence is right in front of you. You can't deny it when it's like right in front of your face. Who enjoys this too? The enemies aren't hard so much as they are just glitchy hard. The game's broken and not hard. They're only hard not on their own, but by how poor demonstrated the game is and how slow you are getting your attacks. There's no good armor. Look at the textures on that guy. He barely looks like something believable. Slow combat. Nice cutscenes, morons. You'll see even worse textures as it goes on. But with this game's just like you have to suffer through 3 of these if you want them, and they've made a collector's edition. And who want to buy that one? It's already bad enough. It looks bad. It looks like a game that came out for the PS2.
Did you have your nightmare again?
It's always the same.
The ghost captain?
Voice.
He haunts me almost every night.
The story
it's just
is
a dream. Real life is out there
you've
waiting for us.
Just poor RPG story that you couldn't even compare to masterful stories such as Elder Scrolls, Dark Souls.
How long was I asleep?
Far too long. Now come on.
Even Lords of the Fallen and Bound by
cabin.
Flame beat this current.
I'll go and wait for you on the shore.
Very glitchy. There's just so many problems, and you can also practically break the game just by rolling around forever without getting hit. You're practically invincible doing that the whole time. You got those gnomes that I bring you back to, which sound like they're a bunch of Jar Jar Binks. And everybody knows, if they're smart at least, that Jar Jar Binks is known as one of the worst characters of Star Wars. And I was only there to entertain the kids, and did a very poor and awful job at that. Even the kids would get annoyed. The kids would grow up thinking that this was a nightmare to them, like the Teletubbies was to anybody else. There's not much to the game. I mean, it's got its crafting system and all that, but it's barely any good, and the game will make you vomit just while you're midway playing. And
not now.
When a game makes you not want to play it much longer, you know it's a bad game. They reuse areas and tools and gameplay mechanics that are just awful. There's not much to the combat. The spells, you'll have, like, for example, one of the spells I had to use the most was a parrot spell in order to platform. But the parrot's so stupid because you know a parrot to fly, but the parrot goes like it's falling down rather than flying up, and it only lasts a limited time. You get limited spell uses of it, and the spells are really badly executed as well as they're sort of slow compared to the rest. There's the bird that you transform into, what it looks like at least. The textures aren't even popping out for them. So the monsters are very cartoony too at times, and dumb. You can get stuck in places you wouldn't want to, and
right. If we want to find the greatest treasure of the Southern Seas, we need to get to the ancient temple. According to the map, we need to follow the path.
Hard to live.
Come on, dearest brother. We'll be rich soon.
This isn't a hard game in the fact that it's actually hard. It's broken hard.
Oh, that really hurt.
And it's just so noticeable. Why do people like this game? I noticed that I love Space Hamster, but he likes this game, and I'm like, why? Now that does look good. But I noticed when I'm running around the beach and stuff, I saw like very textureless
There's the old temple.
rocks.
I knew it. Now we
And
just
it
have to get there.
awful. And then I saw the ghost guy, and he just looked poorly demonstrated. It was awful texture on him, like you saw in the beginning. He basically looked like what you saw in the beginning. Maybe even worse. Your AI does even better than you. And even your AI is not that great. It's just I could go on and I sound like an angry person, but this game, you will see, make you angry. And for those who would like it, I don't know how you deal with it. I really don't. Some people have really weird taste
What was
compared
that?
to others.
I felt
It
as if
just doesn't make sense
there.
at times.
Just then.
Alright. Now that we've dealt with a bit of the Risen game, and I know I haven't gotten to talk much, if you want to
Be
discover
careful.
it for
It looks
yourself,
dangerous.
you can, but why else would I be doing an awful game battle in the first place? So why would you even play it? You can shoot a gun, you can sort of stun your enemy, and most of the time it misses, which is another annoying thing, even if you're right in front of the enemy's face. But yeah, this game just, I couldn't bear playing this. It was just awful.
A little temple.
And they made
I wonder what
3
happens
of
when
these.
you pull that lever over
3,
there.
and they're all bad. The quests too are really stupid. For example, you get to sweep as a quest. Sweep and clean an area. Or try
these
to give
ruins
away
will hide
drugs
many
to someone.
secrets.
Which is really stupid. That's basically it. The quests are really dull and dumb. And the enemies are just too much for you
An
to
old
bear.
book. Thunder rolled through the valley, and the
no
earth
character is
shook
interesting.
as I approached the large gate of the ancient
entire
temple.
stupid game.
Only my
Wildlife is
blunderbuss
dumb.
provided me with some protection against the
Open
wild
world
creatures
is
of the
not
jungle.
open world. You will try to swim over to your boat and
The
then get
mage
a
wrote
loading
this.
screen. Oh, it's
He left
the
long ago.
version of an invisible wall. Wonderful. Anyways, thank you very much for watching that part. Now we'll move on to our next part. So, now that we saw a little bit of Risen, let's get a sneak peek of what our next game is. 2 Worlds. And now, after I do 2 Worlds, I'll show you a bit of our other game. Our 2 Let's Players, I mean. That will give you more insight on why these games are so bad. So let's move on to 2 Worlds. So this is basically a versus of the RPGs. Risen does have a open world. You do have islands you can go to, tons of quests, but they're barely ones that are good. For the ones I gave, for example, were the sweeping and drug one, and there's more dumb ones like that. You're never really working towards a goal so much as it's just padding time. Like, you're not even going to the stupid actual goal that you want to, where it wants you to. So let's focus on 2 Worlds now. We're starting at the first part. I barely know the stories to 2 of these games, so I'm sorry. I don't know if you want to know the stories, but
Such a delicate vessel.
you got your
Such a
character
violent
gearing him,
force.
I'm guessing. And as you explore more of this game, they want to sacrifice your sister to a god of destruction. And you're this hero that also sounds like he's trying to be a tough guy, wannabe tough
flame
guy.
flickers in the wind, Ezreal.
And the voice acting is just as poor. So, this is also HD, 2 worlds. It does look slightly better with the textures and such. And you got different races where Risen didn't have races.
Try to escape again,
so
and the next place we'll put you will be far less forgiving than the dungeon.
Game, and you have more of what feels like an open world. But your controls and running are very loosely, as you'll see soon. The dialogue is really poor, and it's got missions that never actually lead up to the main point. So it just never gets anywhere. It's just padding time. So you'll see that this game is glitchy and buggy. You'll have controls that are really weird, like if you want to sneak or run, it'll be the same exact button. Basic blood effects and attacking look like you're some wushu master just waving your feet around. And the graphics are also badly textured in many ways. Better than Risen in ways, I have to say.
I'm not gonna hurt you. We're here to help.
And you don't have to suffer as much. What was once an expansion, 2 Worlds 2, is now a full-fledged game. So your actor sounds like Christian Bale Batman too. Sounds all emo.
Let's see.
You can pick up stuff just like you do for Risen. And there's the loose running controls that I move left to right. RPG story is very basic. You go save your sister, which in this case isn't a princess. You get 2 decisions at the end. You got tons of monsters to fight, yet the monsters, once again, are sort of broken, and you got frame rate drops. But it's not as bad as the first 2 worlds. The first 2 worlds had bad frame rate, really bad textures and glitches, invisible walls, you could get stuck, and some of the controls wouldn't work properly. It was similar to that of Risen, but I felt like it was a little worse in cases for 2 worlds. 2 Worlds was also promising to be better than Elder Scrolls, which was quite a big task they had to do, and they failed. And there's probably a lot of people like this. I mean, there's like 5 stars for both of these games on sticking their websites, and I'm going to talk about more of why these games are awful. Like I have. So these... You've got so many cutscenes that are also pointless too. There's like a scene where you get a bunch of like stone golems together, a stone golem army, and they don't actually do anything towards the plot. Why are you clapping? So you've got just 2 games of the Risen series and DLCs.
We came
Poor
here
dialogue,
for this.
glitches, frame rate,
I pray that our desperation hasn't
and then
clouded the
plain old
prophet's
getting stuck in
judgment.
invisible walls.
What's this all about?
And story
There's no
missions
time.
and stuff that
Everything
actually
will be
don't get you
explained once
anywhere.
we
But when
reach
you
El
do,
Sorna.
the end of the
Now,
story
go with Tarfa.
is a plot that was
I'm
not
not
only
leaving without
predictable,
my sister.
but
Not without Kyra.
Kira is
Kira
not
was
the
her name by the way in
objective.
the original, now it's Kyra,
She
and then they
is
call her
heavily guarded,
Kira
and the stakes
again.
are too high to risk
Which is
losing
really
either
weird.
of you. Coming with us is
So,
the only
they don't know their
road
place, and I get a lot of my
saving your
information
sister.
from 2 YouTubers
This
that
is
have looked on
suicide.
these, and I've
You'll never
played
breach
these games,
Gandar's
but I
defenses.
did not care
We
for the
made it
story.
this far, didn't we? Now get on with it.
So,
It won't be long before
we're gonna
Gandar's
see-
army is made aware of our presence.
These are just both
If
equally
you
awful.
reach the exit point before us, take
But
it.
at least 2 Worlds was the developers were able to admit that their game was bad. They sent out complaints to retailers,
We need to go now.
and they knew their game was bad, but Risen never talked about why they think like that.
We have to get
The
higher
developers,
ground.
which is surprising because they're the developers
was
of
that
Metro, and I
We don't
believe
have time
Square
for this.
Enix took part in that
If you
too.
must know,
And by the
Rogdor
way,
is the last general of the
oh my
Orc army.
goodness, the body
But they were wiped out at the Battle of
gestures are
Osro.
really weird. I forgot
No
to
orc
talk about
survived.
that. You get
Sadly,
evidence more.
not many of us
Combat's really slow and
How did you
sluggish.
survive?
Rogdor was inside the castle walls, on a mission to
And you
sabotage.
don't even get to fight most of your bosses. Let's see if there's more bosses or
And
battles
Sordahan,
going on.
he is not alone.
They build up an awesome boss battle and he doesn't actually fight them, which sucks.
Our window of
Game on that
opportunity is
part.
slim. We need to go
You see,
now.
I'm using videos for these, but just don't play these games. I have to say, but I wanted to do a funny versus just for a funny little thing, and I know I'm laying out simple things and sort of the story, but you don't really need a whole lot of knowledge on this game, on either of these games, to really prove their awfulness. The evidence is in front of you when you play them, and just by watching these videos. These are both on the
All
PC,
that's left of your dying race will be washed
and they're
away.
just
Your genocide will be
the
complete.
cutscene. This
and
guy
be
looks cool, and I
forgotten
like the
with
designs they
your
were going
fallen
for.
brothers and sisters.
They
You sound
obviously
certain,
feel
Sordahan.
Sordahan. Tries too hard to look cool. And I agree, it looks cool. Looks better than that of what Risen tried to attempt. Pretty cool, right? Well, that's not the game. This guy actually gets killed off easily, so not much. And his ghost returns later in the game. So, enough talking about that. Both these games are bad. You already know the gist. That's why they're fighting each other.
Yes, I am. I'll make it quick. You deserve as much. We're done here. Take the others.
He's dead. Anyways, let's stop that. These games, oh my goodness. It's giving me a headache just talking about them. But yeah, they're both really bad. So now let's go into some actual footage on the rest of this stuff. Alright, I'm going to show you the two Let's Players that I wanted to thank very much. First off, we've got well, not defending Two Worlds in a way that of its awfulness. We've got Pro Jared. He does a review of both Two Worlds, and he talks about why they're so bad, and he narrows them down pretty well. I thank him for that. So Pro Jared is at one side defending that of the awfulness of Two Worlds and why it shouldn't exist. And I thanked him for that because I would suffer more. And I guess he's one of the reasons why they never made a Two Worlds 3. At least not that I know of. I hope they don't. But at least they admired how bad it is, and now they get to see how bad this one is. And they were able to make fun of themselves. So I'll give them props for that. In the other corner, defending that of the awfulness, you could say defending, they're probably attacking, they are attacking, that of the awfulness of what Risen is. And since that's a trilogy, you might explore more awfulness than possible. You've got Angry Joe, defending that, well, attacking that once again, of Risen. Risen and the stupid Two Worlds, I say, are both really poor games. I will also show you the prices and one more thing that continues one of the game's awfulness that makes it truly bad. So you got two of these YouTubers defending that of Two well, defending their awfulness. Why one is more awful than the other. We'll see who wins. And they both have great arguments. I love both of them. And I feel like they very much helped in these. But you would start up from mundane critters. You got like rats and stuff, but they throw you in both games really hard enemies that they shouldn't. Where Risen has bad enemies to start with just because the game is broken, and so is Two Worlds, but Two Worlds throws stuff at you where you can fight at least decently, but you'll have frame rate in the process. Now, Two Worlds, they have collector's editions and stuff, but they sell for less now, and it's understandable because it is an older game, but it did sell at a higher price, both games. And Risen is still selling at decently high prices, $30 for your PC version, but they have low prices too for the Xbox and PlayStation. So you got those. And I'm going to, there's Deep Silver, the ones behind Metro. I can't believe they made this. Also, I believe, where is it? Piranha, yeah, they're also behind it. I thought Square Enix, I'll have to get my box, but I swear Square Enix had something to do with Two Worlds. See, look, it's so bad that even Sacred and Bound by Flame are popping up on here. They want to get rid of it fast. So you got Deep Silver that made this game, and that's sad because they had part in Metro. Oh, look, even Arcania made it on here. Who made Arcania? I think Arcania might have been made by Nordic Games, yeah. So that's a different company. But yeah, Deep Silver. And then you got your other awful gaming company that made this, Topware. But at least they were able to admit how bad they are, and we forgive them for that. What is that? Get out of here. Like survival involved. But yeah, let's see who is more awful by our last. I keep this list up because I look forward to the upcoming games that are coming out. And this will final our verdict on who is worse. And the verdict is, look at that. Risen 3 Titan Lords will have a launch of an enhanced edition for the PS4. That's not good. So obviously you could tell that the reign of Two Worlds awfulness has come to an end at just a second game, where Risen went to third, and not just that, but they're releasing it again the 21st of this month, August 2015, for the PS4, a new game system. And also, did they notice they sort of went bankrupt? Not even sorta. So that is... Ooh, that's an awful game. I don't know why they would do that. They'd have to really fix that game. The controls, they'd have to make it more fluent and fast. They'd have to fix the glitches and the frame rate. I swear if it's still very frame rate and, like, glitchy for the new system, and especially the price of it's probably going to be high, or the same as any other game. It's not worth it. If they fix that stuff, okay. Fix all the glitches and the stupid frame rate, textures, fine. But if they don't, and they don't fix the dialogue and the awful voice acting, I'll be surprised if it still looks awful even on a new system that can handle bigger games like Witcher and stinking Dragon Age, then that's going to be quite a shock in the way that, not quite a shock at the same time, in the way of its awfulness and poor execution. So, do you know who our victor is then? Of which is awful? let me point you out that victor. Are you ready for this? You probably already know from what I just said. So, you know that our victor, I don't know why I should put this one up, and our winner for awfulness goes to Risen. Thank you, Risen, for making our lives even worse by now coming out to PS4, and you officially get to see it, and even if you didn't know about that, you do now. Wait a minute, you know what, they don't actually deserve winner. Hold on. Since it's awful games, they deserve loser. Woo! They both do, but this one the most. So this is the loser of being less awful than this and finally ending at 2. But this was awful for still being here and stinking coming to the new systems and just being a plain loser out straight anyways. So I hope you enjoyed this. I didn't go into much as I did the other 2 games that I have for my last verses, but I felt like the other 2 games at least deserved a little more explanation than these 2 games, because these 2 games, I'm doing an awful versus. See who's worse. I mean, do I really need to go into much more detail? And you got to see footage of it, and the outright awfulness. And I even used 2 YouTubers as an example. I hope they don't mind, and I also hope they enjoy this video. I'll wipe this all over your dang faces. Yeah. Take that. But there you go. You're losers. You're losers of the day. Move that in front of your face. I'm sorry. But they need to know your name better. And loser needs to be big in print. The 2 games that lost, but the loser/winner being Risen, because its awfulness is still with us. Go away, Risen. You don't deserve to live. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time on our next verses, which will be Lords of the Fallen and Bound by Flame. I own both these games, and I will have more on both of them. Once again, I didn't have much to describe the stories because I thought they were awful straight out anyways. You've already got bad enough voice actors to start with. I don't think you'd need to suffer any longer. But look at these awful front cover cases to these 2 games. So I thank you very much once again. And I end it here. Please like, favorite, and subscribe if you liked this video versus tell me which one you thought was worse than the other if you've experienced these games, or if you actually liked these games.
Then you can bury yourself.
No, but seriously, these games are awful. And there is no offense, this is just my opinion, but seriously, what the heck's your problem if you do like these games? The evidence is right in front of your face. Like, more than once. So thank you very much. I'll see you next time.